Hello, everybody. Welcome to the G Sports Podcast. My name is Brendan Gorm, and today we're talking Packers vs. 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, back home in Cali, rematch from last year. Let's go. So, for starters, let's go back to last year and remember what actually happened in the Packers vs. 49ers game, in both games, right? Because they once played in the regular season, the Packers lose 37-8, and then they play in the playoffs in the NFC Championship game, and the Packers got blown off the floor 37-20, or blown off the field, not the floor. But, alright, first off, Aaron Rodgers, he played bad in both games, right? Specifically the first one, he was 20 of 33, 104 yards, and only a touchdown. But I mean, the offense was horrendous, and they didn't make any adjustments. They didn't do anything. They just got pushed around and bullied by that San Francisco 49ers defense. And just, here's a little fun fact. They had 5 3-and-outs in the first half. 5 3-and-outs in the first half. That is atrocious. That is terrible, especially for an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. That's just unacceptable in my opinion. And then in the second game, in the playoff game, I thought Aaron Rodgers played a really good game, actually. But what cost him was his turnovers, right? 31 of 39, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 picks, and he had that lost fumble where he had kind of Cam Newton'd it. Ball's on the ground, and he's kind of looking, shaking his head, not really making a move to go get the ball. Not necessarily something you want to see in an NFC Championship game, but whatever, it happened. And the Packers end up, not winning. But that's just the offense. Honestly, the biggest problem of both of those games was the defense, because the defense was horrific, specifically in the NFC Championship game. Raheem Mostert, not some crazy good Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry type of running back, right? Raheem Mostert, just a speedster coming out of Purdue, never really has gotten a chance in the NFL before, takes the starting job from the 49ers, right? And he's doing good. He's doing really well in Kyle Shanahan's system. That outside zone allows Raheem Mostert to get a lot of space and speed and be able to use his speed and use his attributes as a runner. This man goes for 29 carries, 220 rushing yards in this playoff game, and honestly, it felt like more because Packers were getting pushed around on defense. We could not stop them for our lives. It was bad, right? It was not fun, not anything that was entertaining. It was painful to watch. And what made it worse is that Jimmy Garoppolo, their quarterback, only threw it 8 times. So it was rough. So now going into this game, it was time for revenge. It's time for revenge. I want to see some good stuff this time, opposed to last year. So going into the game, I thought the keys were definitely stopping this Kyle Shanahan run attack and getting our offense going. We cannot let the San Francisco 49ers, ran by Robert Saleh, to be able to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers and get us in funks. Because once our offense gets in funks, we find it hard to, get back into rhythm and whatnot. So our keys were to stop the run. Do not let the San Francisco 49ers run down our throats. Be physical. Do not let them get a chance to do that. And then get our offense going. However, one thing to note, though, is this time around, the 49ers were basically putting out their practice squad against us. I mean, Nick Bosa's out, Richard Sherman's out, George Kittle's out, Raheem Mostert out, Jimmy Garoppolo out, Deebo Samuel, and the list goes on. And that's not even talking about their off-season losses, where they lost DeForest Buckner and Emmanuel Sanders, right? So they are just decimated. Like, all their super talented core pieces are gone. So, in all reality, the expectation is to win no matter who's the coach or what scheme has come up, because they are just so... They just don't have any talent anymore. So, my expectation coming into this game was to win, and win in a very comfortable fashion. And that's basically what happened. So first drive of the game, we drive right down the field and get that beautiful play to Davante Adams. That little go down the sideline, and he kind of turns it into a fade. Aaron Rodgers throws it up right where Adams can catch it and does the little turnaround, fade, jump, catch, right on the helmet. Beautiful touchdown. Great highlight. All right. So then we get two good defensive possessions for each team. Not much offense, so the 49ers get the ball. And this kind of scared me right here. This drive, this honestly made me a bit nervous because the 49ers put together a good drive. They drive down the field, get inside the red zone, and this is giving me flashbacks. Like, they're pushing us, they're bullying us, out-physicaling us, getting some solid runs in. They had that really long 40-yard pass to Richie James where he just ran the dig and found the hole in the defense that Nick Mullins apparently found. So, I mean, hey, good for Nick Mullins, his one good throw of the game. But, yeah, they're driving down in field goal range. Kyle Shanahan working his magic, but luckily that was the only thing they got offensively all night long until garbage time. So, I was really happy about that, even though I didn't like that they were moving the ball on us because they shouldn't have moved the ball on us at all. Now, after that was the infamous Valdes-Scantling drop on a Packers 3-and-out. Now, Valdes-Scantling, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, about how Valdes-Scantling is going to be a part of us getting a Super Bowl, but at least he made up for it with 2 more touchdowns later in the game. After that, Nick Mullins throws a pick. Green Bay is set up for another touchdown. 49ers go 3-and-out. Then we go on a nice 8-play, 87-yard drive and end up 21-3 at half. And that was one of Valdes-Scantling's touchdowns. So from there, I mean, the game is basically over. The 49ers receive the second half kick. They go 3-and-out. That was nice. Packers 9-play, 80-yard touchdown and this is the pass to Davante Adams on the sideline, right? Just another go route, another beautiful pass by Aaron Rodgers. If he doesn't lose his balance and step out of bounds, that's a touchdown. But I mean, Davante Adams tiptoeing down, I think it was 16 yards after the catch, just couldn't stay in bounds, goes out of bounds. But hey, cap it off with a touchdown. 49ers fumble. The Packers go 31-3 at that point. The 49ers fumble is after that Packers touchdown. So yeah, the 49ers fumble. Packers get the ball 31-3. And yeah, that's the game. I mean, Packers get one more field goal. 49ers get 2 touchdowns in garbage time. Final score of the game, 34-17. So this is now going to bring us to my takeaways of this game. And my first takeaway is going to be pretty cliche, but we won a game that we were supposed to win. There was not a second of this game where we should have been losing, where we should have felt scared, even though there was that little scared. Thank God that didn't come through. Packers got it back together, didn't give the 49ers anything the rest of the game. Such a big mismatch based on skill because 49ers were injured. I mean, once they lost George Kittle, once I heard that they didn't have George Kittle, that's when I thought that Packers were there was no chance that the 49ers could win because, all right, 49ers lose all their weapons aside from George Kittle. And the thing that George Kittle brings that offense is so much more than any other tight end, including Travis Kelce, because George Kittle can block, he can catch, he can run routes. There's that clip where he runs a route and beats Stephon Gilmore in an out route. He can run after the catch. He can do so much for that offense. And it really doesn't matter who is out there. It really doesn't matter who the 49ers put out there offensively as long as they can play around Kittle. But once Kittle was out, it's so much easier to scheme around them because of what Kittle brings. I mean, their backup tight end, he didn't do anything because he doesn't have the skill and ability that Kittle has, and he doesn't bring the value that Kittle does to that 49ers offense. Another thing to note about the defense this year is that we're not turning the ball over. We're not getting turnovers this year like we did last year. Last year, through the entire season, we had 17 interceptions as a defense. This year, we have 3. And so we're basically on pace to have 6 interceptions the entire season. And I noticed that we also had multiple chances for interceptions on Nick Mullins' god-awful throws, and we dropped them. So hopefully our DBs can come down with these balls because turnovers are key for defense, right? We need these turnovers, get that ball back to Aaron Rodgers, and let him do magic offensively. Now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams because in my opinion, they're now the best quarterback-wide receiver duo in the NFL. I mean, who else do you have up there? You got Breeze and Michael Thomas, Kyler and Hopkins, you got Matt Ryan and Julio, Russell Wilson and Metcalf. But honestly, you could also make the argument that Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett are just as good of a duo, in my opinion. And you also have Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. And honestly, the only one of those I could see making an argument against Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams is Breeze and Michael Thomas, because last year, obviously, they had an outstanding season together. Michael Thomas breaking the catch record, having 100, way more than 1,700 receiving yards. I mean, they were on some next level type of offense last year. Especially, it's kind of ironic with the whole meme of, oh, Michael Thomas only runs slants. In my opinion, that you could argue that makes it a lot harder for Michael Thomas to do what he does. I mean, I guess it makes it easier to get the catches, but to get those yards, because slants are not big yards plays. Those are little chunk 7-yard plays usually, right? But anyways, Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams. I mean, I think Davante Adams fits Aaron Rodgers' play style super well, right? It's like Jordy Nelson, but a lot more athletic, right? Davante Adams is a top 3 route runner in the NFL. There is without question, he's a top 3 route runner in the NFL. He is so good at creating space and getting open by being shifty and finding the space in between the defense, right? Him and Aaron Rodgers are always on the same page. Their timing and Aaron Rodgers' anticipation of where Davante Adams will be on the field at all times is top-notch. And I'd also argue that they can do a lot more than Breeze and Michael Thomas, because Breeze cannot throw the ball down the field more than 20 yards. And that's not a knock on Breeze. That's just a fact. He can't do that much anymore. And Aaron Rodgers can. So you got that deep shot, deep post, go. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams can literally do anything on the field that they want to together, and they'll hook up with it. And their yards, or Davante Adams' yards, touchdowns, they show, and they prove it. Also, the thing with Davante Adams is the Packers don't really have that number 2 receiver. Yeah, Valdez-Scantling, maybe, but he's inconsistent. Allen Lazard, well, he's hurt right now. Who is the Packers' number 2 receiver? They don't really have one, so teams are scheming and knowing that the Packers are going to Davante Adams, but they cannot stop him. Now, to be fair, the Packers running backs have played really well this season. I absolutely love the combo of Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. I mean, them as a 1-2 punch. I think the thing that makes them a little bit more unique is a 1-2 punch, because usually you'll have your running back, per se Zeke, and you'll have your change of pace back, Tony Pollard, who's a lot more faster, quicker, not run you over like Ezekiel Elliott, right? We call that change of pace back. Whereas the Packers, we don't really have a change of pace back aside from arguably A.J. Dillon, and we don't use him. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, they're honestly the same running back. They do the same things. Like, watch the Packers play and utilize Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams, when Aaron Jones was hurt, would come in and do the same things as Aaron Jones. Would run the same routes out of the backfield, would split out as a wide receiver. They're basically the same player, which is kind of cool and nice because it makes it super easy to replace one with the other, give one a break, stick with the game plan, right? That's super nice. And even with all that said, Aaron Jones didn't even have the greatest game against the 49ers. He had 15 carries for 58 yards. That's a 3.9 average, and his long was 11 yards. And he had no touchdowns. So even then, if you want to say that, oh, the 49ers had to focus on Aaron Jones, well, okay, they focused on him, but Davante Adams still had 10 receptions for 173 yards and a touchdown. So that tandem between, or not the tandem, the duo of Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, that is lethal. And then you add in the running backs too. Man, I freaking love it. But if we can get a number 2 receiver we are going to be pretty unstoppable offensively. Now, even with all that said, I'm still kind of worried about the super physical teams in the NFC, specifically Tampa Bay, who already beat us in very similar fashion to how the 49ers beat us. Big blowout, even though the Buccaneers had to come from behind in order to start this massive blowout, winning 38-10. With all that said, there's one team I fear, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is definitely the worst matchup for the Packers this year. Luckily enough, if the playoffs started now, we'd be matched up with the Cardinals. But the Saints are not losing their division to Tampa. So Tampa is going to be a wild card team if they make the playoffs. And I might as well mention the Packers aren't going to lose the division either. So the Packers will be hosting a 5th, 6th, or 7th seed. So hopefully they do not get Tampa, because Tampa is a bad matchup for them. We, of course, already saw that unfold earlier this season. But that's another story for another day. All right, I'd now like to welcome JJ Lippy to the podcast. JJ, how's it going, man?
It's going good. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. So tell me, if you can think back to the days before this game, what was your initial thoughts going through your head as you were thinking how we could game plan to win?
Initially I was, kind of looking back at games before the 49ers, and I was kind of, reluctant, and I was like, our Green Bay's defense really had to step up, because in the run game, kind of like last year in the NFC Championship, when the Packers literally just got ran all over, and I think they ran for over 200 yards against us. I was bringing back a lot of bad memories from the NFC Championship. With the 49ers being so beat up, I was pretty hopeful that we could pull out the victory. But my initial thoughts was I didn't know what kind of defense we were gonna have to show up on Saturday, or on Thursday, I should say, and I thought they did a pretty good job.
I agree. I mean, I was the same way. I was really fearful for our defense because of how smart Kyle Shanahan is of, developing plays, running an offense, creating open space for his running backs. I thought that even with their depleted offensive talent, they're on their third-string running back, Jerick McKinnon, who's honestly not even that bad, but still, they're on their third-string running back. But their offensive line is honestly the only part of their offense that has really been able to stay intact, because they still have Trent Williams, they still have 3 other offensive linemen. They just lost one to IR, I believe, but otherwise, their offensive line, you could argue, has been relatively healthy this year.
Yeah, and that was what I was really concerned about too, because the way our D-line has been performing, Zadarius has been playing pretty well this year. But Preston really hasn't. He's kind of flashed here and there.
That's true.
But I was really concerned for the interior D-line, the interior D-tackles, I should say, because, that 49ers offense is really built off of their offensive line and how well their offensive line plays, and that's what I was really concerned about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Our interior D-line is honestly not the best. Was Kenny Clark playing this week?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, he's still coming off of injury, so as he gets back into the groove of things, but still, there's just a lot more to be desired. We lost Blake Martinez, who was a tackling machine, but he was not the biggest running back, and we replaced him with Christian Kirksey, and I think he was out that game too. And Christian Kirksey,
yeah, he was, because he just got activated on the IR today, I think it was.
And honestly, Christian Kirksey hasn't done much this year. He hasn't been a big difference. If anything, he's been a little bit of a downgrade, I'd say.
Well, he's been hurt since week 2, I believe it was, or something like that. And, I think Kirksey is definitely the more athletic, and more versatile than Blake Martinez was. But, just with him being hurt, and then, we having to have Barnes step up. And I can't think of the other guy's name as of the moment right now. But apparently Mike Patton really likes him, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So after the game, what were your thoughts, right? What was your initial take after the game?
I was expected, to be honest with you. I was expecting the Packers to blow them out. And it sounds like I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but, that was a great performance by us, and it should be like that. We shouldn't have to worry about us playing a depleted, injured 49ers team. We should just go out there and, kick their butt. But, I thought the offense had a really good groove the whole game, kind of getting back to what we did earlier in the season, because I felt like we weren't as electric the last few games on offense. And, we're still scoring every first drive of every game, so we still got that streak going, which is really good. And I thought the defense came on and played really well, considering, the 49ers had injuries. But, I'm not going to really I'm going to take this win as a grain of salt, because we played the 49ers who, had depleted injuries, and I really don't think we're going to be tested until Indy. So we should really, take the good win and keep moving on to our next goal,
Mm-hmm. And speaking on offense, I just want to build off of your point of getting in rhythm, because the Packers, I've noticed, have had this big problem where they face a team, and the second they get a little pushback or a little resilience, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they just quit, and they just get in really bad funks, and nothing on offense works. And that's the thing that happened last year against the 49ers, right? The Packers offense could not get anything going, so it was really good to see the Packers offense nice and fluid, good rhythm, being able to drive the ball. Now, to build off of the Packers' offense, this year I believe that Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers have put themselves at the top of the best QB wide receiver duos. Do you agree with me, and why?
Being a Packers fan, I will agree to that. Honestly, I do think that Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are the best QB wide receiver duos in the game. Here's why. Davante just finds a way to get open all the time. And, with his ridiculous stats that he's had the last few games, I think he's had over 100 yards the last few games. I think except for one game he didn't. And, with him coming off of his soft tissue injury that he had, you just look around the league, and the only really – you think of Tom Brady and Mike Evans. You think of Drew Brees and Michael Thomas.
I'd put Kyler and Hopkins in there, too.
Yeah, and now you got Kyler and Hopkins. I was kind of thinking, last year you had Deshaun and Hopkins.
Yep, last year, yep.
But literally, you pair any Hopkins with any quarterback, and
that's
you're
going
to be contending. And then you got Wilson and Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Aaron Rodgers and Davante have always been a great QB wide receiver duo. Are they the best? Currently right now, I really think Davante and Aaron are really starting to click, and I think they're really finding ways to get Davante open, even though you really don't. He just gets open, So. To answer your question, I would probably put them as the top right now at this moment going into Week 10.
Yeah, Davante Adams' ability to get open is just absolutely amazing. He's definitely a top 3 route runner, and I think the thing with Davante Adams is he fits Aaron Rodgers' play style perfectly, right? Aaron Rodgers loves receivers that are able to get open and be able to run good routes, be precise, and that's exactly what Davante Adams is. Now, he had problems catching the ball earlier in his career, which he's thankfully fixed, and that's another thing. Davante Adams will basically catch anything that Aaron Rodgers throws at him.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of catching, let's talk about our lack of a number 2 receiver. How far can Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams carry our offense with the lack of a number 2 receiver? Allen Lazard currently hurt. Valdez-Scantling, even though he had 2 touchdowns, he had that third down drop. He's been inconsistent all year. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think that, the Green Bay Packers are Super Bowl contenders to a point. I really don't think the number 2 wide receiver is our issue right now, because, Allen Lazard is coming back. He has proven to be a good, reliable number 2 wide receiver.
I really like Allen Lazard.
I do too, and with his speed, he's got some pretty good speed for a number 2 wide receiver. And honestly, I don't really want to. It's kind of a bold claim, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Jordy Nelson, where he's pretty reliable and he can get open and he makes the catch. But I kind of want to see more of Allen Lazard. He's been hurt, so. I really think, him coming back off the IR is going to be really impactful for this offense. And honestly, as much as, I give crap to MVS, I really think that, like you said earlier, I really think, with Adams early in his career, he fumbled a lot. But, I really think MVS is really going to start coming along here. And I think, Aaron's starting to target him more and more, just because he is he's a fast, good wide receiver that can get open. It's just
That's true.
he just needs to catch the damn ball. That's really
Exactly.
what it
Valdez
comes down
Scantling
to.
does get open. It's just that he's dropping the ball. He's having issues catching, and that's kind of what's hurting
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers and the confidence that he has in Valdez Scantling. So really looking forward to seeing Valdez Scantling continue to progress with Aaron Rodgers, gain more trust, gain more confidence catching the ball.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the other side of the ball now. Our defense has been really shaky this year. Definitely not as good as last year, in my opinion, when we had a top 10 defense. However, we did play solid this week. Granted, it was against a very beat-up, injured team, like we've talked about. Was that more of a reflection of our defense improving and getting better, or do you think it was the 49ers simply being that bad offensively?
It's definitely a different game and with Jimmy G under center. But, I mean, when you get a good win like that, I think, you could take a lot of positives for defense. They got the 2 garbage touchdowns late in that game. But, honestly, I just don't know really how well or – I'm just, still hesitant with our defense. I think it was just more of the 49ers were bad on offense because, you take a look at it, a week ago against the Vikings, and Dalvin Cook runs for 200-plus rushing yards on us.
Very true.
And then you look at Tom Brady in a pretty – they got a lot of weapons down there in Tampa, and they just threw all over us, and, part of that was the offense's fault, yes, because Rodgers did throw 2 picks. But I'm just more concerned, and I don't really have – it's not necessarily I don't have faith in our defense. It's just I do not have faith in our defensive coordinator. Because, I can't remember if it was this last week or the week before, but we really had Preston Smith, a DN, lining up at cornerback.
Yep.
I just don't understand the defensive scheme behind that. He's one of your best pass rushers, and it's 3rd and long, and yet you drop him back with the coverage as a corner. I don't understand his thinking behind that. I don't really like how we're playing nickel half the time, and we're not keeping a lot of defensive guys, the D tackles on there for when we're getting shit rocked on a running game.
Absolutely.
I just don't know if I really like his single linebacker in the middle trying to run coast to coast like we made Blake Martinez do in the NFC Championship when he was literally the single backer and we made him run sideline to sideline the whole game. I really am losing faith in Mike Pettin, not necessarily our defense.
100% agree. You said that really well, in my opinion. The scheme that he puts out there is really questionable with his personnel, and that definitely has something to do with the Packers' really poor run defense. Their lack of size up front in the box is just allowing teams to run right over them and out-physical them. The Packers are already a finesse team, in my opinion. They win with, finesse and not physicality, right?
If you go back to it and you just look at this film, we know we're weak in the middle. And you know how we saw that? We put Zadarius Smith standing up in the middle over the center.
Exactly. And it's he's supposed to be our edge defender, not our blitzing linebacker from the A gap.
Yeah, and I feel like he's making Z Smith as he has to be our god. He has to do everything for us. Mm-hmm. And it's just no, we need Zadarius on the edge because he's a great pass rusher like he was a season ago with Preston Smith. Because when you can get Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, and Rashawn Gary out there, Gary's improved a lot. Preston's a good pass rusher, so is Zadarius. And then, we should – I really think we need to go out and get a D tackle, but, that's just my thoughts. But, I don't know. I just don't really have faith in Mike Pettin.
All right, JJ, 30 seconds. What does this game mean in the big picture, and how does this put us in better position to win the Super Bowl?
We get an extra win for the Super Bowl to get us one step closer to the playoffs and a better seed. I just, think that our team just needs to get better defensively, and I think the offense, too, needs to keep the rhythm and keep going. And I just really want to see – I don't really think the Jaguars are going to be really a big game this week. I think we're going to roll right through them. But I'm definitely not concerned, but excited for our challenge against Indy in 2 weeks. And I think we moved one step closer to our playoff goals.
With all that said, that will be today's G Sports Podcast. Thanks for listening today. If you like what you hear, drop a comment below, tell us what you think, give us your opinions, and we'll see you next time.